The birds are just going insane out there. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheryl and today I'm here to bring you one of the many promised unhaul videos. I have got a lot of books to show you. I will tell you a little bit about each one, but more importantly I'm going to tell you why I'm unhauling them. And some of these might offend, but it's what I'm here to do. Not really, what works for one person, reading wise, won't always work for another one. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the books. If you've seen my review, you will not be surprised about this one, and that is Dead Until Dark by Charlene Harris. This book was crap, and I did not enjoy reading it. I do not want to keep it on my shelf. I am not continuing the series. It was bad. I would say this next one is, probably the first controversial book on this list, especially because the show just came out, and that is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I first read this book back in high school, which was a long time ago, like 5 years ago now at least, and I enjoyed it when I read it. I thought it was an enjoyable read. I'm not a big contemporary person, so and then I watched the show when it just recently came out this past year, but I have some issues with the show, some issues that I didn't recognize when I first read the book, and I just don't have any desire to reread the book, and it's just taking up room on my shelf. And like I've said many times before now, I'm trying to really kind of narrow my shelves down, even the books I've read, like my bookshelves down just in general, to the books that really kind of reflect me as a person and reflect my reading taste, and this just doesn't fit the bill anymore. So I'm just going to pass it on. So the next book I'm going to unhaul today is Storytime by Edward Bloor. I got this at, I think, like a Goodwill, forever ago. I read it. I believe it is middle grade, but honestly I couldn't tell you anything else about it. Even though I read it, I don't really remember anything else about it, which I guess says something about the book. But I do remember that it follows a set of siblings who move and start attending this super elite boarding school. But this elite boarding school, of course, has secrets and starts force feeding the kids this weird potion type. That's not protein shake. Why did I say potion? This weird protein shake that's supposed to make them smarter, and there's a demon loose, and the siblings have to kind of figure out what's going on. It was enjoyable, just not memorable, so there's really no reason for me to keep it. So this next one is maybe even the most controversial. Let me see. Yeah, I'd say this next one is the most controversial one on this list, and that is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. So the reason I'm unhauling this book is because I read it probably about 2 years ago now. I enjoyed it. It didn't blow my mind though, and with how much it was hyped up, I expected this to be just a masterpiece, which I guess is partially on me, because what book is really truly going to live up to the hype that the internet gives it? But I was just a little disappointed with this one, but more than that, I just never felt inclined to read the series, or to finish the series. There are 2 more books in this trilogy, and I just never felt inclined to finish them. I never felt inclined to pick them up, to buy them, and so if I don't ever plan to finish the series, because I would have to reread this first one, and I just don't want to do that, then why would I keep this one? It's a cool book, it's a cool concept, with there being, photos and stuff that also help tell the story, but I just, like I said, if I don't intend to finish the series, there's really no point in keeping the first one, because the first one was not, it wasn't my favorite book. Now, if I enjoyed the book a lot more, maybe I would keep it, but unfortunately, it's not for me, I think. So the next book I'm going to talk about is The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. I started reading this a while ago. Maybe about a little less than a year ago now. I guess I should take that out. I got about 150 pages in and just put it down. I don't remember why. I don't know if I was in a reading slump or if I just wanted to pick up another book. But I put it down, never picked it back up. Don't really remember the first half of this book. Don't want to reread the first half of this book to finish this book. Just not really. It's not really for me. I was reading this because I believe a movie came out for it, or at least it was pretty hype on BookTube, and so I was like, let's see what this is about. I got it really, really cheap at the bookstore, and just, yeah, I'm not a really big, general fiction person, and that's what this is. I do remember the writing was good, it just wasn't for me. And that seems to be a general trend for a lot of these books. It's just, I pick them up thinking I'm going to enjoy them, and they're just not for me. Oh well. So this next book is Racing in the Rain, My Life as a Dog by Garth Stein. This is a, like, YA, maybe middle grade adaptation of his book, The Art of Racing in the Rain. I didn't know that when I first purchased this, and when I read it, because I was reading it, and I was like, for an adult fiction book, this seems kind of childish. And then I realized, like, I read the back that said this is a special adaptation, and I was like, oh. And from what I've read on the internet, they cut out some pretty, like, horrible and graphic things from the first book that happened to the main character, not the dog, but happened to the person. So I can see why they had to cut those for this book. However, I also just don't really understand the concept of why they keep doing this, why they keep taking a really popular book and cutting things from it and making it suitable for young audiences. They did that with the Da Vinci Code too, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway, I bought the original, The Art of Racing in the Rain, and at some point I do intend to pick that up, but it's probably going to be a while because I already kind of know the story. So we'll see when I get to that one. So if you've ever watched any of my unhauls before, you know I have a habit of buying books and finding out they are like way, way into a series. And I didn't know that. And I then unhauled the book. This has happened quite a few times, and it's happening again with this next book. Because I got this book for 50 cents, and I was like, ooh, this sounds interesting. So that book is The Book of the Dead by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. Egypt. Me. Fantastic. Only 50 cents and a hardcover. I was like, hell yeah. Well, then I looked on Goodreads and found out this is the 7th book in the series. The 7th. I have so many books to read, both from like my library that I want to read and at home, that I just don't have the time or the patience to start a brand new series to get to the 7th book to read this. Like, I know it's my fault because I should have paid more attention, but at the same time, publishers, please, will you start like indicating that this book is part of a series, or just books in general. It drives me crazy when they don't have any sort of indication on like the spine or the front, or even in the front flaps, that this is like the 7th book in a series, or that this is a part of a series. The most it has is other books that he has written, or co-authored with Lincoln Child as well. So that list. But, like, that doesn't say that this is part of the series. For all I know, they've just written a lot of standalones together. I know this is partially my fault, but I'm getting real tired of doing this. So this next book is one that I got at half price. It was that blind date with a book thing where they wrap it, you buy it without knowing what it is, and then you kind of get to unwrap it and see what you got. And I got If I Stop, I'll Die, The Comedy and Tragedy of Richard Pryor by John A. Williams and Dennis A. Williams. So I don't really know who Richard Pryor is. I know he's prolific, but I just don't really have any desire to read this. So I'm going to pass it on to someone who might be more interested. So this next one is one that kind of was popular here once upon a time on BookTube, and that is If I Stay by Gail Forman. I just have no desire to pick up this book. I've had it on my shelf for quite a while now, and I've never gotten around to it, and the longer it's been on my shelf, the less desire I've had to pick it up, and that's just not a good combination. So yeah, no intention to pick it up anytime soon. If I do decide to pick it up, I can just get a copy from my library. So this next book is one that has also been on my shelf for a while, because I really was looking through my TBR shelves, and I was like, I really need to get rid of some of these books that have been on here forever. So that's what a lot of this unhaul is, just books that it's your shadow, honey. It's just your shadow. Books that I have had forever and just have no desire to pick up, that have just been taking up space. So this next one is The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards. I do know that this book is like supposed to be really, really sad, and maybe that's what kept me from reading it, but overall, I've had it forever, haven't picked it up, have no desire to pick it up, really no point in keeping it. This next one makes me kind of sad because I've also had it for like at least like 4 or 5 years. I've just never picked it up. And the longer it's been on my shelf, the less I want to pick it up. I think that's right. Yeah, the less I want to pick it up. Words are hard today. But I've heard good things about this book, and I want to. The problem is, I don't want to read this book, but I want to have read it, and that's just not how life works. And that's Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. I've heard really good things about this book, and like I said, I want to have read it. I just don't want to go through the effort of reading it, and that's a really weird but sad thing to say. If it's been 5 years and I haven't picked it up, there's no point in keeping this. Next one is one I've had for a while and I've just never gotten around to, and that's I think it's on the Jellicoe Road. At least on Goodreads, it's on the Jellicoe Road, but this copy I have just says Jellicoe Road by Melina Marchetta, I don't know. But I just don't really know what this is about, and it's really short, awkward hardcover. For example, like, this just doesn't look good on a shelf. It's shorter than most paperbacks, too, which I don't know why the publishers did this, but yeah. Overall, I haven't picked it up, have no desire to pick it up. It's gotta go. And this next one, and last one, will not come as any surprise if you watched my Books I've DNF'd video, and that is Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. I ranted for a hot minute in that video about how much I fucking hated this book, and so I won't subject you to that again. But I might keep this one for a little longer so I can film a why I hated this book video. But yeah, just I didn't like this, didn't like it at all. No desire to keep it, no desire to look at it anymore. I want to pass it on, but at the same time, I don't want to subject anyone else to the horror that was this book. I'm at a crossroads here. So anyway, those are all of the books I plan to unhaul. I know some people get kind of like offended at unhauls because they're like, you've wasted all the money on the books. You're just showing how privileged you are to be able to buy books and all this stuff. And like, on one hand, I do feel guilty about like getting rid of these books because, you know, I did spend money on them. But at the same time, most of these I've gotten for like between 25 cents and $1. But more importantly, most of these have been on my shelves forever anyway. It's not like I just went out and bought a bunch of books and then I'm immediately unhauling them. These have been on my shelf for a long time, and honestly, there's no point in me hoarding them if I'm not going to read them. I'd rather pass them on to have someone else enjoy them. So yeah, sorry if the fact that I unhaul books regularly offends you, but you're just gonna have to get over it. So anyway, thank you for watching. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social media, which is always linked down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!